happy hour. This is Reading in the 21st Century. We have a little different on our title. Sorry about that. But welcome. We're really excited to have everybody here. The thing I'd like to start out with is how many of you ever used an ebook yourself? So you could put like a plus sign or an exclamation point or something just to indicate that you have ever personally read an ebook. So we get those. Yay. Are you a little more than half? Exactly. So that's interesting. Now, how many of you have ever used it with your students? Have ever recommended an ebook with students or actually prescribed an ebook for yourself? Okay, and that's probably why you're here today. Figure out how can we do this and what else about. So that's good information to have. Agenda for today. The what and the why. We've got some resources, some help apps, and some self-paced instruction to talk about. And it's going to get us through our hour. I will do best not to go over. But does this seem to work for you in terms of what you're here for and what you need to get? If so, go ahead and put some sort of emoticon in the chat. It could be a smiley face, a plus sign, an exclamation. And you have specific questions that you would like to have answered today, please go ahead and put them in the chat. My workers, Carrie and Lisa, are both monitoring the chat and will be helping with the responses to your questions. Also, looks like we're ready to move on. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start pretty. I think we all know the answer to this question. I'd like to answer the question, what is an ebook, right? We're talking about them, but let's figure it out. So I went to Google, my friend, and asked, hey, what's an ebook? And so this is the definition I came up with. And I think we all knew this coming into the presentation, but just to clarify and make sure we're all starting on the exact same page, we have a version of a book, right? So lots of us, I'm sure, I'm not alone, but a lot of us really like to feel the book in our hand and turn the pages. But I think once you take a look at ebooks, you're going to see that there's a lot of the same sensation that you can get from a paper book in an ebook, and they offer quite a bit to our students. So even if we don't convert personally to ebook readers, we definitely can find a place for using them with our students. So you is why will you use an ebook? So why do you select to use a 21st century learning tool such as an ebook with your students rather than continue to give the paper copies? Some ideas in the chat. Anything you come up with. Why would you use an ebook? Just respond to that with whatever you're thinking. You guys are you're getting my list all taken care of, right? Yeah, easy access, accessibility. You're exactly correct. You don't need multiple copies available and free, correct? Right. All of these are spot on and absolutely correct. So let's see. Yep. So here's a list that I compiled of why we should use ebooks, and you nailed every one of them. I don't think there's a single one. Oh, perhaps the environmental impact and space in the backpack. But I think you are correct. They really do offer accessibility, and you can meet the needs of the students regardless of where they are academically. So yes, no excuses. Thank you. Have no excuses. You can't lose it. You can get it at home. You do have the availability of making the size of the font larger so that those students who maybe have a difficult time reading small text can have the larger option. The text-to-speech, we all know that's really important for some of our learners. And the one you maybe didn't get actually is up-to-date content when we're talking about book support content rather than maybe fiction. you can always get up to date. So that's a bonus. Great job, you all nailed it. Well done. So this is one more reason Secretary of State was how we could switch to digital textbooks within 5 years. And he did the same thing, active education, save money, save time, and everybody can have access. It's kind of cut off there, but that's basically what he says. And so that's good. So we're supported at the state level or the national level. So we're going to talk a little bit about resources next, because I'm sure you want to know what MCPS has in place to support you. I will go ahead and say, you really should be your library media specialist. They are experts. They have the most up-to-date books available and have a nice collection probably already built up in their library of online books. And it's something that I think is kind of a little secret. It hasn't really gotten out there, but most library media specialists do purchase access to ebooks for your students. And so having knowledge and knowing where to go to those is a really great place to start. In that, there are tons, and I say tons, masses of books that you can get online. You can go to websites and you can get URLs and provide to your students. And have plenty of reading opportunities. But I did select a few to share with you. Epic is one that we have in MCPS that can view. At this point, I'm going to share my screen. So these 3 items that I have here. I didn't link to the Gutenberg one, but they're there. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go to the screen, and the screen's going to flip. And no longer see the chat on the side. So you're going to go to the top and you'll see a little green bar, and then you can bring the chat back in, just so you know. And I'll say that again when I get there. But hold for just a moment. Wait for it. Now you can see my screen. I'll make it bigger. Yeah. So I was just checking the attendance. If you didn't get the attendance filled out, please go ahead and that. Look at it right here at Epic Books for Kids. They're a really fun site. It's also an app, so you can get it in your app launcher, so you can just go right to it. But you can decide what types of books you want to have for your students. I just selected a variety, and it gives you suggested books. These are the more popular ones. Really fun. You can see where you can get the book be read to them, and this is a really nice feature. So when you click on it, if you click Read to Me,
Sharks have skeletons made of soft, full cartilage instead of hard bone. Shrine food.
The idea that the student can get a really entertaining almost sense of the book, and it reads along with the student. So as they turn the page, even if they turn it early, it will still read what's on that page. So the student is always reading along with them with what's being read aloud. So it is a really great opportunity for students to get that additional information. I saw Carrie put the chat. She put link to the one for high school students in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and show you the textbook option. Now, most MCPS textbooks probably, I'm assuming, most have a code that you can get for your students if you have a textbook. Now, I realize that not every subject has a textbook. And the way it works is you get a link to the online textbook, and then you get a code that your students have to use, and then you submit the code, and then you have access to the textbook. This happens to be a health textbook. I'm an educator, and we have an online health course that we teach that use this textbook. How awesome is this that you have the access of the textbook right here online and topics such as health education, so critical to be up to date. And the other really big advantage of using online textbooks is they do provide an up-to-date opportunity. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. We'll head back to the presentation. All right. So that was, I want to know if you have any questions specifically about any of the resources. And Sharp just ended, that's right. So if you have questions, go ahead and post them. Those are just some of the resources that are available to you. There are, again, lots and lots and lots. The only caution I have is that you make sure that any book that you do select is approved for use in Montgomery County. That's the only, yes, Janet, the EPIC books are leveled. You, when you enter EPIC, you select by age, and so of course, if you have a first grader who is reading at a younger level or a fourth grader who's reading at a higher level, you can select what you want. We're going to go to, so you can level any book you select for your students. That's a great segue, actually. Does anyone have any questions before we move on? Great. Yes. This is a resource. Into EPIC. Oh, the code for the textbooks. So if you have textbooks, for example, if you were a middle school or high school teacher and you used a textbook, you would just contact your instructional specialist for that subject. So for history, you would contact that office and get the code for the book. And it does require you to sign in. That is correct. You do need to sign in. Yes.
So to jump in, Epic is a service that does or doesn't need a sign-in?
It is sign-in, yes.
A sign-in available? How do people get that sign-in?
PCS.net account is available, and then you can add students to your account to create a class, basically.
Wonderful.
All right, if you're ready to move on, we'll go ahead and give me a line in the chat box. Your own password for EPIC, so it's like you're creating your own EPIC account, your own classroom account for EPIC. Yes. I'm not sure if you can sort that, but I would imagine you can sort. The question is, on EPIC, can you determine which books have the reading? I know it's identified at the bottom of each book, so as you scroll through, you'll see that green icon that identifies that. But I don't know if you can actually just sort and find the ones that are able to be read to you. For fear, I think we can find many other options for your students who need read to, because if they have an accommodation, there are options for them. You know, Barry, drawing a blank, we have a special app that's purchased by the Education Department for students who have accommodations. And Lisa or Carrie, jump in. Wait for it. We'll information to you, but definitely there is a great option for them, as well as we have text-to-speech options throughout. Right, thank you, Kim. Thank you, and Janet. I appreciate that. Right. Yeah, County does pay for that for any student with a IEP, and accommodations are in line with Read and Write, which is a great tool. So if you're not currently using Read and Write with your special education students, that's definitely something you want to look into. It's a very effective tool. So, everybody, we're going to move on. Back if you have a question. On to more fun and useful. So there are some things that I think will be quite entertaining for you and or fun for your kids. One is you can actually add music to your reading. So it's book track and it's what you can access, and it has books already on there. I'm going to go and screen again with you. And the beauty of this particular one is you don't have to log on. You can just go there. Wait, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Ooh. My desktop. Okay. So this is one that you can use with your students, and it's kind of fun because I can read one that's already here. I can just grab this one. I think is so cute. I can share it in my classroom. I can save it, or I can just read it. And it has music in background. So, and the music is appropriate for the it's enough where I left off last time. So I'm reading, and I have this awesome music in the background. And then, even as a bonus, you can create your own writing and put your own music to it. So it's also one that would support writing as well as reading. So that's well. Move on. Wait just 1 second. Sorry. All right. And everybody go with that one? So we're moving on to the next one. Readability.com. I think you're going to really, really, really like this one because you can paste text that you found, like the internet. Let's say you found an article on the internet. You can paste a sample of that text in, and it'll give you the reading level of that reading. So that's somebody had asked earlier about books and finding out what reading level it is. You can take a piece of the text from any online book that you find, throw it to this website, and it'll give you a score. Now, this site also offers other really cool things on it for reading. So I do suggest that you bookmark this one. Carrie put the link in the chat. Go ahead and go there, check it out, take a peek, and see what you think, because I think you'll find it quite effective. Very helpful when you're selecting online text students. Is everybody, am I going too fast? I just want to make sure we're all good.
I'm doing good. Other folks can throw stuff in the chat. I'll jump in on readabilityscore.com as well. I like this one. I went looking for a bunch of them. You find readability scores like, you know, like Hannah Barnes. I mean, they're everywhere. So find one that you really like and throw it in here. We really love this one. It's really efficient and effective, and gives you a nice sense of, is the text I'm using appropriate for kids, which will help them enjoy the reading and to their level. So thanks for sharing, Lynn.
Yep, awesome. Is ready to move on? I'll hit the next two. We have assess your students' reading level. It's a prompt, so you can assess what they've read. It really just provides great prompts for you to get your students started. So this, you may use it as a pre-reading strategy. We find a topic related to the content that you're going to be covering. You have everybody write about that as a pre-reading, and then you could also use it as a post-assessment to see what connections they can make to the book that they just read. So it's just a fun place to get really, really creative and thoughtful writing prompts, which really support reading because it can, again, set them up or have them connect to the reading. That's a really good one as well. And the links aren't working. We'll get those fixed. We'll put the right links in. We'll get those working.
I'll type it again. That's not just my typing. It's right on the screen. I'll type it again.
And supplemental readings. Now, remember, 21st century reading does not have to just be books, and it doesn't have to just be textbooks. It may be articles. It may be something that you found online. So we have two really great age-appropriate sites that you can access really timely information for your students to read. So again, it doesn't have to be a textbook, and it doesn't have to be a book. It could be an article. And keep in mind that anything you use from the internet, you your red comfy chair to make it pretty. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. Just 1 minute. Every single Chromebook Montgomery County has this particular option that's right here. If I were to go to any website and grab an article that I want my students to read, I can click on this extension, and it's called Readability, and it provides a clean, clear copy for my students. At that point, you can decide. You can copy it and make it into a Word document. When I say Word document, of course, I mean Google Doc. And then the students can make notes on it. So you have a lot of flexibility and a lot of options when you use Google with your reading. And of course, you can implement reading with that. Stop for just a moment. Go ahead, Mary.
Throw in, while folks are throwing in questions if they have them as well, I'll throw in that these reading and these reading sites and these patterns are great for centers all the way up through middle and high school routines, because Metropolis, which you mentioned, they change all the time. So the kids can come and find one of interest or just one of the day and do what you want them to do with it. Read, write, attack, think, move, and constantly changing. So we'll go through that effort of getting them used to going and using sites. It becomes automatic play. You know, it's like reading for the 21st century. There's an engaging, something interesting for them to do every day. You just need to set the pattern in your room.
Oh, and I'm guessing with the 14 of you that are joining us, some of us have children of your own at home. Wonderopolis is offering a little summer camp that you could get your students engaged in, where it's kind of like a self-learning opportunity for the students. So it's kind of fun. I'll just throw that out there for those of you who might have your own kids that you want to have reading and entertained the stuff.
I made a note. Oh, we're getting epic going this evening. So I don't know if anybody else agrees with me that when this is going on, you can give me some exclamations in the chat. I'm already on it, making dual notes. Thank you, Montgomery County. I'm doing dual duty today. Mom and teacher.
Yeah.
And thank you, Lynn, for making me a better mother as a better teacher.
Oh, sure. All right, if everybody's ready to move on, we have one more little piece that I think you're going to find pretty exciting to pull this all together and make it really work for you in your classroom. And that whole thing about self-paced instruction. I know we want to engage our students in lessons that make them think critically and think on their own. And the one way to do that is to put them in charge of their own pacing of their learning. Now, this doesn't mean just, go read a book. It means we are providing them with that pre-reading, during reading, and the after reading assessment tools. So I have a couple examples, 3 examples actually, that I'm going to share with you that you can create on your own with your students, and then you can give it to them via Google Classroom through a URL or however you like to disseminate your work to your students. But stuff. The first one is right here with the split screen. You can provide a document with whatever you want on it. It can have pre-reading, it can just have questions or note-taking. It can be totally open-ended. But if you use your split screen or tab resize, whichever one you like, you can have the student have the book on one side and questions right there available to them on the other side. And it makes it for really, really efficient working. I'm not going back and forth and back and forth. I know you can tab back and forth. It works well. But isn't it nicer when you have both of them right there? And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. And when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and share the other 2 examples that I have with you. So I'll show you the split screen in case you're not familiar. So just all my tabs went away. I'll find them. Just ready. All my.
Ironically enough, as you're showing tab resize, putting it side to side, I was just going in to give everybody's attendance PDO while you're talking, and I was using tab resize. So this is probably, it is authentic for all sorts of reasons, right, Lynn?
Exactly. Luckily, I am using my Drive, and I don't know how familiar you all are with your Drive, but you have the opportunity to find recent items, and I'm really hoping 2 items that I pulled up are going to be sitting there waiting for me in my recent. So let's out. Hey, all right. So I have this. Nope. Let's start here. So Lisa and I presented a session on hyperdocs. So I just wanted to give an example. This is self-paced learning at its finest, where you give students, this is a creative writing challenge. You could easily turn it into a reading challenge, and it has reading in it as well. You would give some sort of engagement. So maybe I would suggest perhaps doing a book trailer of the story that they're getting ready to read, or some sort of pre-reading engagement to get the students thinking. And then you have some exploration, and then you would read the story, and then you would reflect. You could share or not. This is just an example of one that you could very easily recreate into a reading challenge for the students. So they are self-paced, could definitely differentiate and give different readings to different students, different questions, different challenges, so that every student has his or her own set of instructions and self-paced learning for the day. The other one is not showing up in my, so I'm going to grab it really quickly. Just bear with me while I grab it from here. A little Google form. If you've got your chat pulled up, remember you can go to the chat from clicking that green bar. Let me know if you have ever used Google Forms before, especially if you have now used the new Google Forms, if everybody has experienced. Yes, we love Google Forms. So let me show you an example of how you can use Google Forms. And I don't know why silly little sound. So this one is just showing you how you can put tons of stuff into a Google form, and your students can access it. So this on Wales, we use it as an example quite often, but it's just a really easy one to share. You have the information on your students, and then you give the reading, and then you can question so that you're checking for understanding each time. The great thing about it is you can have students go based on their answers. So if they answer a certain way, you can guide them to a next step. And Kathleen, it's okay. If you're not efficient with Google Forms, it's okay, because they're very easy to learn. And Lisa and I can give you some great handouts, as you will. They're Google. And that can help you learn how to go through and use Google Forms very easily.
And I'm throwing a couple of those links in the chat as well. I'm going to throw in a Appy hour that shows some of this, and I'm also going to show some of those handouts as well.
Thank you. And Lisa, if you want to throw some of them in, you can go ahead and do as well. And you see on some of the pages, the reading is right there on the page, and sometimes the reading, it takes them out to something else, and this actually has a video in it. I mean, how cool is it for your students to experience different types of reading within one document, and you get to have the information gathered in one place for all your kids. So it's a really effective way for you as a teacher to give information to your students, have them process it, and give it back to you. So absolutely, yes, we will share all the links. Yep, we can do that. So can you share to Google the Creative Writing Challenge? Yeah, and we can. And we can also get a copy of the document. Oh, absolutely, yes, I can do that. That is and I'll show you one more, because I just think it's awesome. This is, if you're interested in using this Google HyperDocs as a self-paced lesson, it has this is a simple little table. You can change the image, change the title. reading about whatever we're reading about today. And then you can change all of these to meet your needs. You don't have to leave these exactly as they are. You can change these words so they are, preview. Give them a book to a preview of a book. And then read, and you can give them whatever content you want them to read. So a whole lot of options for this whole self-paced learning. And again, the beauty of it is you can differentiate so easily depending on what your students need. You can read, you can text where they speak, and it gets written for them. It's just amazing and unlimiting how Google has made teaching our students who used to have real difficulties, how more we can reach them and provide them with more engaging opportunities for their learning. All right, a lot of talking. I'll make sure that we have given you everything you want in terms of links and whatnot. We'll always go back and email you as well from the PDO roster and make sure that you have everything. But you have our contact information. We also tweeters, right? We tweet. So we'll throw our handles in the chat, Lisa, Carrie, and I. So if you want to follow us, especially Carrie. Carrie tends to do much more of the Appy Hour tweeting. I do retweet. I try to keep up with her. It's hard.
Summer, we're calling. I don't know. We invented a hashtag that makes us feel very 21st century, but we're calling it PD and PJs. If you do follow hashtags at all or us, we've made a commitment. We tweet a couple times a week. We tell you about all our live Appy Hours, and we have a bunch going on this summer. And we also are cherry-picked favorite shows from the past year. A few folks that have been binge watching, but we're kind of laying out an order, starting with the beginning stuff at the beginning of the summer. We get more complex over time, and we're putting our favorite, most useful, most watched Appy Hours of the year. And so if you're looking for some light PD, like turning on a recording, maybe while doing the dishes, follow us. We'll tweet to you. We do it in the morning around, around 9 o'clock. And you could watch one every other day, and by the end of the summer, you could have 15 hours of professional development under your belt. We'd love for you to join us. And if you just retweet us, press that little heart button, it warms our heart, right, Lynn?
Yes, we love it. Yep. I wanted to address Irene's question, and I was just responding. That's where you heard me tapping on the keyboard. I apologize. So a problem with Google Forms is that if the students don't finish, they tend to lose their work. And then be an issue, but there's a really simple solution for that. If you just do short form, so let's say you have a form that you want to keep going on for it's like 5 pages. You can do it page by page. Each page would be a form. And in the submit message, the little message that pops up that says, thank you for completing Google Form. Well, that's editable. So what we do is put the link to the next piece message. So the student said, now that you have completed page 1, go to page 2, and then have the link to that next form in that. I've done that before, and it's quite effective, and it makes kids feel really special when they finish and they get to go to the next one. So it's actually maybe even more motivating than you just had a long form that you kept going on and on with. So if that's helpful or not, but that's how I use that particular thing. Lisa and Carrie, do either of you have any suggestions for that?
We're caught and you have a long form. Also just telling students to breeze through to the end and press complete. They always come back and redo the form, do it half and half. That is not the best. That's not the cleanest option for you as a teacher. But if they do get to that point, know that they can always submit a second copy for themselves, and they can finish the form in that. Just they would if they just handed in a half-empty piece of paper to you. At least that information and that work isn't lost. But I'm with you, Lynn. Creating smaller, more targeted experiences, and if you need to link them together through the form, is really just a good practice.
Yep, you are. And I think it's awesome that you would like to share this information with your staff. I have this saved as a Google presentation, so we can just go ahead and grab a link and get that to you. So if you would like a copy, just email us and we will send you the link to the presentation. I'm flattered. It is good stuff, though. So just in ending or closing out, again, if you have other questions, please ask them. We do have instructional technology specialists assigned to each school, and so if you would need some additional help, definitely call on them. If you don't know who your instructional technology specialists are, you can email us and we can let you know. And of course, we're always happy to answer your questions as well. So since you've joined us in an Appy Hour, you're part of the Appy Hour crowd, and we hope you'll keep coming back for more and suggest topics. If there's something you'd like us to do an Appy Hour on, go ahead, drop us an email and say, here's what I'd really like to learn more about, and we'd be happy to look into that for you. So any parting words that you have?
We are happy to, take suggestions from the crowd, and we also run Appy Hours specific for specific schools as well. So if you guys really want to do one during a staff meeting at the beginning of 3:30, we make it live to the whole county because we can host hundreds here, but we run it at a time when your staff would really benefit from it. Particularly those of you guys who are with us, maybe you're part of your school's SIP plan, and maybe you guys are doing equitable practices. We're actually running a show on that in just 2 weeks, and maybe you want to do something to support your school goal. That's one of your action items. Just shoot us an email and we can set something up for you.
Absolutely happy to do so. About the Split Screen app is not actually an app, it's an extension. So it's one of those, remember when I went in the red comfy chair? It sits up there on your Google Chrome. So it actually works with a web page that you access. So that's why they work with Google Docs and items that you would have as a URL. So you can split the screen between the different URLs. Pretty cool. Awesome tool. You can split your screen in 4. You can have 4 things showing if you want to. You can split it any way you want. It's extremely flexible. So,
and if you don't have that extension, go and click on that little link in the chat. It'll prime, get it ready to be there. And this is one of those ones. Liz told me about this one. It's the first thing that I recommend teachers on kids' screens. It's just so useful.
It really, once you share it with your students, they will use it on their own because they will see the value in this particular tool. There's nothing else that you have for questions. We have really enjoyed having you with us today. We appreciate your attendance. We will, as Carrie said, get you into PDO, so you will get your credit. And thanks. And of course, if you have questions, please ask. Do you have must-haves? Absolutely. Oh, the company chair probably would be only linked with your MCPS account. So it'll be on your desktop when you log in as your .NET self. That's why, yeah, I can show you again. I'm going to show you. If you're satisfied, you are welcome to go ahead and start your Wednesday morning do things. But if you want to say, I will show the size and I will show extensions just to give you a little more. So I'm going to share my desktop again.
As that lets you know.
Sure. Yay! Carrie has already given you credit on PDO. That's awesome. On my screen, and here are my extensions. Now, these aren't all my extensions, but these are the ones that are showing now. Here's my tab resize. Here's my red comfy chair. Because I'm logged in as MCPS and my accounts are linked, that I'm seeing it on my personal account. So whenever you log into your personal computer the first time, it's going to ask you if you want to link your accounts. And if you say yes, which you should, then it's going to pull in all the extensions and all the apps that you have from MCPS, and it'll save them so you can use them. So if I wanted to use the comfy chair, I'm going to go to a regular news site, so I'll just go to CNN because I can't think of anything else quickly. So go somewhere like CNN, an article that I want to read. None of these are good articles. Bad choices all around. But here's my article on CNN. For a student, it may be rather distracting, loading. But it comes in, and I push my red comfy chair. I can get a much cleaner. Yes, I realize you don't like. Hit my comfy chair, I read it now, and just watch how the page changes. So this one didn't really. Oh, there we go. See, how lovely is that? And it'll do it for any web page that you go to. Notice that the pictures went away, the distractions are gone. If there were any ads, which there shouldn't be, they would go as well. And then got larger text. Now, I could couple this if I use my tab resize. If you get all these different options, and then you could even do a custom one if you wanted to. But let's go with the standard side by side. Here, I could pull up a Google Doc. Right? I could go to my Drive. I have many, many options of what I could do. Was that? I hope that helps. If you ask for must-haves, I would say that screen would be another must-have, personally. I think that's good. Any other questions? Was that helpful? Yeah, I'm glad. All right, well, our pleasure to have spent the morning with you. We appreciate you being here, and you all have a lovely day. And again, questions, just email us. We're happy to respond. Have a great day, everybody.
You go, as you close out, you'll get a survey from us that just asks how you like today's show. Please let us know if you liked it. And those of you guys who are watching on recording and have made it this far with us, and we care about your opinion too. So if you fill that format, that'll help us give credit being able to join us in today's web. Thanks, everybody, and have a good one.